Aloha. Thanks for your consideration of the views and opinions expressed in this ThinkTech commentary, which we are calling Metamorphosis in America, with apologies to Franz Kafka. One morning, our fictional friend, Greg Samsa, woke up from a deep sleep. Something was very wrong, and he was troubled. Perhaps it was about the new American metamorphosis. He looked in the mirror and saw to his great dismay that he had changed into a huge cockroach. He was repulsed by cockroaches, and seeing that he had become a cockroach, he was repulsed by what he saw. At that point, he thought about Donald Trump's lies, impeachments, the insurrection, and the judgments, indictments, and convictions handed down against him, as well as the conspiracy theories, insults, and threats that defined his campaign. Greg remembered the extremist initiatives coming from Trump's Project 2025, his cult appointees, and his plans for deportation, vengeance, dismantling the government, and extraterritorial aggression. He remembered his fear that none of Trump's economic promises had come true before, or would come true now, and that under Trump, the American economy was on a path to serious decline. Greg remembered how worried he was that Trump would destroy the security of our civil society and our social safety net, including our healthcare system, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. He remembered his anguish that Trump was making the country into a dictatorship and that the rule of law and Greg's civil rights, including freedom of speech and religion, would be in great jeopardy. He remembered how dangerous and divided the country had become under Trump and how Trump had alienated our long-standing allies and friends in so many places around the world. Greg remembered that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was still going on and there was very little prospect of a just and lasting peace, and how we were losing the economic and hegemonic war with China, thanks to Trump. He remembered his concern that Trump's new regime meant stopping all immigration and deporting millions of immigrants in the moral and economic tragedy of a mass deportation. Greg remembered that Trump played fast and loose with classified documents, and that he pardoned thousands of convicted insurrectionists, including armed and violent ones, and that our national security would be threatened for years. He thought back to Trump's denial of medical science and climate change, and the existential threat that would pose for the country and for Greg and his family. Then it suddenly became clear. To his chagrin, Greg recalled that he had also slept through the last election day, and that all of these things would come to him for having done so. So it was no wonder that he had changed into a cockroach and that he was repulsed by what he saw. But, in fact, Greg was fully awake, and this awful nightmare was very real, like a mean-spirited reality show, in which Greg, and all of us, are victims in a new and dark regime and a failing democracy. Deeply depressed, Greg went back to bed and back to sleep, hoping that it would all end soon, and that he would wake up, like Rip Van Winkle, once it was over. How about you? Do you feel like a cockroach too? Do you want to go back to sleep? Actually, at this point, that may not help at all. Thanks for watching, and thanks again for your consideration of the views and opinions expressed in this ThinkTech commentary. We'll see you again soon for the next one. Aloha!